So Emotional Bungee Jumpers, it's a group, it's a community of us working to build these practices. At its core, it's about building deeper connections with every human being we come into contact with. That's the point. Now, the exercise, the jumping element of Emotional Bungee Jumpers is an exercise. And you have 3 roles. And several people there's several variations of this, but I'm going to describe the 3 roles and talk about the purpose of each of those roles, because that's, I think, is a significant difference. So one is you have a coach, you have a problem owner, and you have an observer. The coach's job is to listen to the problem owner, not solve the problem. Listen to the problem owner and connect with the human being, not the problem. And there's some rules. The coach cannot ask closed-ended questions. The coach cannot ask leading questions. The coach is not allowed to solutionize or solution shank the problem owner, which means no damn advice. All they are asked to do is ask curious questions and stay connected with the human being in front of them. The problem owner, their job is to share a problem. And what is important about that? Vulnerability. It is a small but gigantic demonstration in vulnerability to say in front of other human beings, I have a problem, and invite somebody in to tinker around with your thinking about that problem. The observer's job is to pay attention to the coach and write down all the violations the coach makes, because guess what? First timers, right? Like you become 2x4 to the forehead aware of how horrible a listener we are on the regular. And so the observer, oftentimes first timers, they'll focus on the problem owner or the problem. No, focus on the task at hand, because somebody's already responsible for this problem owner. Your job is to give frank and direct feedback to the coach's performance, which is another power skill that we think we're good at, right? We're from construction. We have thick skin. And then we tiptoe ballet dance around giving somebody some frank feedback about telling them how horrible their questions were. And so that's the exercise. And it's a timed exercise. And the self-awareness and personal growth that I've seen it have on everybody that does it is profound. And because of that, it's like one of my primary focuses going forward into, we'll just say, eternity. How'd I do, Jen?
Yes, very good.
Well, it was really good. And it's funny because you can get away with solution shanking. It has not worked for me, but so I coined the term, I stole it from someone else, solutioneering. And I can tell you now that I call out solutioneering all the time. And it is that exercise that made me aware of and conscious of myself doing it and other people doing it. And I get such a kick out of it now, though, at times.
Yeah.
Because the amount of people who do it is amazing. And they do it in business. They do it in personal. So I had that aha moment, right? I had that open. And by the way, you are absolutely right. And you would think, Jen, you would think that we would talk about business problems. I have a boss who doesn't want to listen to me, or I have this person and I can't. And honestly, when I did it, it was around kids and family life, and some really, really tough things came out, and you guys coached us to go there. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about why you would coach somebody, Jen, to go there into those parts, and then how some of this impacts the groups that you've done it with, because you've done it a lot.
So there's 2 things that are super big that Jesse didn't highlight. So I'm going to highlight them, and then I think I can answer your question. So one of the big things is in our world, because we are fixers and we are high performing people that are out there changing things, we're change agents. We action. Like that's what we live in and we're going. And because we live in this mode, and a lot of us that are doing really big things do, we want to keep moving. We want progress. And in our minds, progress means like fixing it and moving on, taking care of it and moving on. And when we're doing this exercise, what's been magical is you have to throw that entire mentality out the window. Because if you're the problem owner and I'm the coach, nothing in me wants to let you continue to dwell and have issues with this problem. Everything in me wants to, here's how it can help you. Here's how I can help you. But that's not the exercise. The exercise is if I come in and I give you one solution, I've now taken the problem away from you. I've now allowed you to let me have that problem so that I can help you fix it. Because guess what? If you go do what I say and it doesn't work, then who messed up? I messed up because I told you what you should do and it didn't work. And so we live in this world to where, yes, there's a lot of things that work, but there's also a lot of things that don't. And for whatever reason, we feel we've got to take these problems away from people to help them fix them. And they're not our problems. And so this exercise helps people frame up and get comfortable being in a place with people that they're connected with and they care about. And somebody that's even visibly hurting or stressing, that it's okay to allow them to keep their problem and that we can help guide them and direct them, not with advice and not with try this, try that, but by just asking the right questions. It's like that's the magic. That's one of the big magical pieces of it is we learn how to ask better questions, curious questions, interested questions, because those questions are focused on the person that has the problem, not what we need to know. And it's like blowing. It's crazy. And so there's that piece, which is awesome. The other part of it is because it's so important for the coach to allow the problem owner to keep the problem and to ask the right questions. What we have seen over and over and over again is that the coach gets so caught up in their head about asking the right questions, they disconnect from the problem owner. And we are emphasizing you have to be able to do both. And so how do you ask the right questions and not try to solutionize and stay connected to the person in front of you and not have the next 3 questions ready to go?
Gangsta.
That's hard because if you're trying to solutionize it, it's easy. You got 1 question, 2 questions. You already know where you want to take them. And so you got them all lined up. But if you're trying to stay connected and you're also trying not to have violations and you're also trying to ask questions based on their last response, if you are not 100% focused on that problem owner, you're not going to do so well the first couple times. And so those are 2 big things that over and over we've seen, but also we've seen those gaps get diminished. Yes. We've seen people grow those elements to the point of they come in and like, yes, they can observe and yes, they can navigate things, but then their questions are like next level. And they've got people going, I don't know if I've ever thought about that, or I don't know how to answer that, or, oh crap, I know what I need to do. Like when people respond like that, then you're all of a sudden letting them work through that problem. And it's being able to see the growth of both of those. And then again, I didn't even mention the observer role. So to me, when we started doing this, which is almost 2 years ago, 2 years ago, what we learned is, and for me specifically, in the observer role, I'm really focused on the coach and the person talking, not the problem and not the problem owner. Once we started going through this exercise, every room I walked into, I was like, oh my Lord, like, oh my gosh, like they're not even aware that they're taking those problems away, that they're taking those and carrying them and walking out of the room with problems that aren't even theirs. because of the way they engaged with the person in front of them. And like the more you become aware of that, then how your conversations change with those people. And how you don't have to tell them that's wrong, but you can be like, hey, let's ask this, whatever. It changed the way that I even interacted in rooms of people that, at all different levels. So those are, I don't even think I answered your question, but those are three things I know need to be emphasized.